You're listening to the Mile Marker Podcast, where we explore trends and innovations in fleet automation and shared mobility, helping fleet-based businesses make better informed decisions and achieve full digital transformation. Welcome to the Mile Marker Podcast. I am your host, Angela Samos, and today we have Jay Wertzberger, founder of the ATI Auto Business YouTube channel, where carriers, brokers, dealers, and shippers can research, network, deliver, and grow. Jay has become a thought leader in a new movement of collaborative education, automotive networking, and a growing community within auto transport and vehicle logistics. With over 30 years of experience, Jay helps companies across all automotive verticals develop new content and media campaigns to capitalize on new business in this rapidly evolving digital car delivery marketplace. Welcome, Jay.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me. I look at my monitor, but I talk on my camera, and we all have different setups, and it's a
Yeah.
media world we live in. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited about today's episode because it's really one of the first ones where we are talking pretty focused on logistics. And while that's not a super sexy topic if you say logistics to somebody, but I mean our world doesn't move without it, right? So without
Right.
logistics, we wouldn't get where we need to go, get the products that we need, that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
why don't we start off by having you give our listeners a quick overview of how you came to start ATI, and then also some of the big issues that you're talking to customers about right now.
Sure. I started ATI Auto Business. My journey, so it's two parts. First part is that I'm a media guy. I've been making shows for real for 25 years.
Wow.
Whether it's
So
on
not
just,
since the pandemic.
oh my gosh, forever. Yeah, forever. And I mean I've developed hundreds of program video from short videos to long form discussions over the decades. So what happened was I fell into transportation in 2012. It was just a kind of a part-time, hey, do you want to try dispatching? Because the life of a media entrepreneur is not a straight line by any means.
Mhm.
And so I said, yeah, sure. What are you talking about? And we learned that there are many industries. Logistics is one. You could think of Uber drivers as maybe one, although everybody knows what an Uber is. But there's a lot of industries that we don't really think about that operate and we don't even notice.
Right, because they just happen.
Yeah, they just happen. It just happens. Packages show up. I don't know how. So we don't think about, trains. We don't think about train systems. We don't think about ocean vessel shipping until there's a pandemic. So I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. What is the car hauling dispatching thing? And I was shown a load board, my first piece of auto transport technology. And okay, so here's a load board. You just sit and look at these lists of cars, and you're going to try to help carriers. These are independent owner operators you're working for. We're not at a fleet business, and I'm now throwing out terminology. You are thrown into. There's a lot of terminology. There's a lot at stake. You've got drivers that need to haul cars. They need to stay loaded. They need to stay profitable, and your job is to help them do that and help them look and book cars, look at cars, book cars, and that should be easy. You should be able to just pick up the phone and call and book a car and cash it in. Nope. Not even close. That car canceled. That car's gone. That person can't do it on Tuesday. The trailer broke, and now we got to cancel all the loads. And pretty soon you're in mayhem. And the filmmaker in me said, well, there's a show here.
Mm-hmm.
This is a show. And so I kept thinking about it, booking vehicles and getting really frustrated, and then making notes of what it was getting me frustrated. Meanwhile, it's not like I'm the first one to ever come up with an idea for a show like this. At the time, there was Shipping Wars was a show.
I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Right. And I was told, hey, watch Shipping Wars and you'll learn more about your job. I was like, okay, I will. But that was freight, and Yeah, but it kind of gets in. It's not like it's nothing. It was an interesting show,
Hmm.
but there were some things about it that really had nothing to do with auto transport logistics. Then there was another one, we watched like Repo Nightmares or whatever,
Oh, yeah.
right? And by the way, it's not lost on me that here I am in a shadow industry being told to watch these obscure shows to learn about more about this job, which I've always known from the beginning, media has this real place. Where we are today is if you buy a microphone, you'll have a successful podcast.
Hmm.
Not a nice thing to
No.
say, but it is out there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, so I was like, well, I know I love media. This is interesting. I'll watch these shows. And I'm like, okay, but there's no auto transport show. Not really, not covering what I do. How would I do that? What would that look like? And I resisted it and kept booking cars and kept getting frustrated. And finally, the time came where I wrote a short, scripted, it was called The Transport Guy. And the transport guy shows up at a lady's house to pick up the car, and
Hmm.
conflict ensues.
Hmm.
I was like, oh, okay, that was a pretty cool video. How does this turn into a ongoing thing? And I know from media, and what I didn't say is I worked in Hollywood for a while, so I know about scripting and formatting and shooting and equipment and scheduling. And this would be very expensive to make this like scripted program drama thing. But what I can do is I can fire up YouTube and have discussions and talk about best practices. And so then I created a dispatcher training series, which has now got, I mean, overall, I don't know, it's over 100,000 views on this dispatcher training series. Awesome. Well, I
Hmm.
built a channel around that. And over time, what I've done is, so that was 2015, 2016. And look, the minutes are just flying by and I'm nonstop talking. That's what happens if you say action and turn the
Right.
camera on me.
Right.
And I thought, well, I could build a channel around all these thoughts, concepts, etc. So I don't make the most fun channel ever because this isn't the funnest thing ever. But for folks that are researching, whether it's carriers or tech companies, or even sometimes shippers, will consider ATI Auto Business somewhere they can go to get the truth about car shipping business, where it's headed, who's in it, what's happening. That's what I do.
Well, and I think it's hugely important because, as you mentioned, it's not as simple as I need a car or I go get a car, order one, go pick it up. It doesn't happen smoothly, right? In
No.
fact, there's a lot of inefficiency in the entire process, whether you're a consumer trying to book a car or you're a fleet management company or you're a fleet-based business trying to get more cars or cycle out old cars, that sort of thing, right? Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and there's not a lot of visibility either, right? So uh,
There's more now,
there's
but
more now. Okay,
there's
let's we
more
should
now.
we
Yeah.
should
So
get into that
let's
because
talk technology, right?
yeah,
And
and
technology's changed the space. And you know what's cool? I started making a channel really before the second big technology uh
kind of
innovation
wave, yeah.
phase. Okay.
Mhm.
The first phase of innovation in auto transport was kind of load boards and technology that helped connect carriers to shippers, which really brings in brokers. And there are, at this moment, before we go further, we have to talk about there's new cars and used cars. New cars is OEMs, and I know we'll talk
Mhm.
about dealers in a minute, but there's
Mhm.
OEMs and dealers and new cars. That's really a different animal. And then
Mhm.
there's and then there's used cars, which is really that's the majority of the marketplace. Used cars that need to be shipped that were either sold at auction or are going dealer to dealer, or sometimes now after COVID, dealer to consumer. But or how about people that send their kids to college, or maybe you're an individual and you sold a vehicle and you need to ship it to another individual that bought your vehicle. How do you do that? And those are called POV moves. Anyways, there's different segments that quickly turn this into, what are we talking about? There's rental
Right.
car companies. There's fleet management companies that deal with vehicles that need to be disposed of because now the AT&T Google vans have changed. Or now police cars have moved up to the new Ford version rather than the old Crown Vic. Anyways, there's so many vehicles in America, and I talk about the United States, that's where I stop. But I am interested in global finished vehicle logistics as well. In the United States, there's a lot of reasons that cars move, and that's what I try to focus on. But the latest technology that's really changed what's happening is the mobile app. It would just changed everything, right?
Just the map on your phone or
Uh,
the app on your phone.
the app on your phone. So
Okay.
I was just talking about like some food apps on a phone call last night, and that, if you go to wherever your favorite restaurant is, you can probably download a mobile app. Okay. Well,
Sure.
in car shipping a decade ago, this started to happen where drivers, carriers would pick up a car and go on their phone and mark, here's the car I'm picking up, and this is where I'm going. And when they would deliver it, they could deliver an email of a mobile app of the vehicle inspection and manage their businesses with mobile apps. That changed the way car shipping looked.
Hmm.
Before the mobile app, it was papers and emails, and what am I going to take some Polaroid photos and send you some
Right.
Polaroids of what you're, I didn't do that. Here's a Polaroid. So the mobile app really changed the way car shipping looks. And that started to happen 10 years ago. Problem is, today there are now dozens of mobile apps that
Hmm.
carriers are expected to use when they move cars around. Just like when you go to your favorite restaurants, each one has their own mobile app. And I think what's happening is we're looking for, do I need 50 different restaurant mobile apps?
Right.
That's
I'll
where
just use
carriers
Yelp.
are today.
So so now we have an influx of mobile apps, and
Too many
so
mobile apps.
now so the next wave of technology. So is it AI? Is it some form of automation?
We don't
What's
fully
driving?
know, and that's where we are right now. And so it's exciting for me as a channel. I see it, it's like any other kind of media beast. It takes a while to see what do I do here? What am I
Hmm.
contributing? And so I've done kind of discussion and education contribution, but I'm really into tech. I know these mobile apps. I don't design them, but I know what's in them. I know what carriers like about them, what brokers and shippers. Anyways, so I talk a lot about technology, load boards, mobile apps,
Hmm.
CRM, TMS, and now as we move into AI automation. So when it comes to like EV, there's so much more in auto transport to talk about than EV, but it's part of the new
Right. Well,
change
so
thing.
what are a lot of your either your listeners or your other guests? What are some of the like most recent conversations you're having around
So,
kind of what's
well,
coming?
yeah, thank you. So, I developed a series where I'm going to be focusing on AI once a month because
Okay.
now companies are introducing AI into
Hmm.
their offering of their SaaS. And I say, well, what does that look like? Because now that there are so many mobile apps, a competitor of that tech will say it's not a real AI. It's just a fancy mobile app, or it's a good algorithm. Okay, well, I have conversations where I talk to people about those types of things because I think one of the things that's happened, and this is tough, but I don't mind being tough. And that is that we don't want to talk about anything negative. As soon as because in real life, when we share opinions on private phone calls, we speak truth. But
Hmm.
on social media, we rarely see actual truth. Sharing opinions has become even more dangerous over time. And I try to have a show where we actually talk about what do we really
You
think,
address the
what's
hard
really
topic.
working. It's tough. My show tomorrow is broker do's and don'ts, what carriers really think
Good.
about different companies and what shippers can gain by knowing what carriers think. There's a reason to share opinions. It's not just to, muck it up. Anyways, AI sharing opinions, but also there are companies that are always improving their tech in other ways. I have shows where come on and talk about your tech. And I'm
Right.
not going to muck it up on your tech show, but I may have a show later where, okay, let's talk. They came and brought their tech. Does anybody use it? Does it work?
Mm-hmm.
How could it be better? So that's the kind of stuff that I do. It's kind of endless content in my mind because I haven't allowed boundaries of, I don't know, I don't have any one sponsor. So I
Sure,
don't
but
have any content boundaries.
well, and having an opportunity to you know share new developments with the industry. Things are changing so quickly that
Yeah,
you know uh, you're trying to find out what's the latest and greatest. What should I be using? I've already I sunk a bunch of money into a new system 3 years ago, and you're telling me I need to do more now, and so
which
things just change so quickly, right? And
And I was just going to say what you just said. There are companies that have technology that will do what you want it to do, but a company will say, yeah, but we're going to do it in house because we need this different. So rather than having you make the change, we're just going to bring it in house. And now there's all these Frankensteins of technology out there, actually.
Well, and that's difficult too, right? Because do you have the expertise in house to build what you need to build, and how complicated is it? Are you building just a fleet management system or a logistics management system, or are you building autonomous tracking systems, or something like that?
Right,
It's quite different. I mean, Tesla is the anomaly where when it comes to the vertically integrated model where they do everything, right? But
right.
I think everyone else has to partner and has to, um, join forces or use other technology. So I mean, it's great to have that platform. Let's talk a little bit about the dealers out there.
Perfect. That's what I'm
And
dying to jump into OEMs and dealers right now. Yeah.
And so the role of the dealer is changing. I mean, the landscape, the business models are changing. Depending on who you talk to, dealers are either going to go away or they're never going to go away. So what's your view on that? And is it just a matter of evolving as the automotive industry evolves? I know I have my own opinions on it, but I'd love to hear what you think.
Well, now that I've established that there aren't many boundaries as far as opinions and content, I will say that I've been watching, and the OEM agency model was kind of a big buzzword a few years ago. And that meant that OEMs would stop. I mean, this is the concept of the OEM agency model. They wouldn't use dealers, they would do it themselves, somehow ship them, somehow just pull back on inventory, days supply, and everything, and just manage it all from the OEM. Okay, well, that's an interesting idea, but what makes the OEM think they don't need dealers or outside vendors? I actually don't know why
Mhm.
you'd think that would actually work at the scale. Think about the United States. How can an OEM manage selling and logistics from the plant by themselves? I
Right.
don't know why you would think that way. Anyways, that hasn't happened. And in fact, OEMs that were forcing dealers to adopt their EV infrastructure, or you're not working with us anymore, they're already pulling that back.
Hmm.
They're now saying, oh, whoa, 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 we were really strict earlier, but we lost a lot of dealers. EV didn't happen the way expected. We want you back. So the the idea that dealers are going to go away, or even let's do the Carvana model. I know Carvana is making a ton of money right now and rallying the stocks. The other shoe will drop. I don't need it to. It just will. Look at Vroom. Look at Shift. Yes, online car buying is here to stay, but it's not going to replace the dealer.
Hmm.
Nothing's going to replace the dealer, and the dealers do know this. Um, I mean, they have other battles to fight, but dealers are here to stay. Just like if you want coffee, you don't call the coffee bean manufacturer in Colombia.
Right.
You don't. That's
Hmm.
silly.
Hmm.
and you don't order it through Amazon yet. So, I mean, you go to Starbucks or something, or you DoorDash it or whatever, there will always be some level of middleman. But dealers do more than just have inventory and let
Right.
you come look at it. And this is where dealers spend a lot of energy talking about being great at customer service. If
Well,
dealers are better at customer service than an OEM or an online site, then they're going to get the deal.
right. I think it's just a matter of evolving their role, right? It's not like
Yes.
it's
Yes.
not just you go to the lot and the whole old fashioned way, because even if you customize your car online, you have to go pick it up somewhere, right? And so you're gonna,
Or
the
they
car's
they
gonna,
send it to you and then you're not fully happy. So
there's that,
that's
there's
a
that,
big problem there. Yeah,
right?
that's a big problem.
Yeah. But I think I feel like, maybe it's not, their model is 90% sales anymore. Maybe it's more education and, like you said, customer service and other services.
Right.
Because I think there's a lot of education that needs to be done for consumers around electric driving, right? Or autonomous driving. What
Yes,
does that mean?
a
Because
ton.
there's
Yes.
still a lot of uncertainty and fear, and what does it mean to, charge at home, and um I'm scared to
Oh,
get into.
that's a show. What does it mean to
Yeah,
charge at home? Totally.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, if dealers can put more into that, yeah, I mean there'll always, like you said, there'll always be a need for a local place to go, a middleman, or someone to provide the services that you need locally, that you're not going to get from the manufacturer in Detroit, right, or wherever the plant may be.
That's right. The
Um,
plant can't do the customer
do it
service
all,
for
right,
they can't.
right,
There's no way.
absolutely.
And I haven't seen enough of an OEM even try. But that doesn't mean they're not trying. It's just that means that, well, I don't know about it, which is fine.
Right. Well, it takes godly amounts of money, right? And time, and being and taking a big risk.
How about Budweiser? We're not going to stock liquor stores anymore. We're going to get you your beer direct. What would that look like? Would that be even possible? I don't know.
I mean, Uber and Postmates be making a killing, I guess, with that
I,
model, but still, it's not Bud delivering it, right? It would be, I don't know.
I
I
don't either. Yeah,
digress. I digress.
right. I don't know either. I don't.
So, what are your thoughts on the whole attitude of consumers, and their changing attitudes around buying or not buying a car, if you will? And then how does
Mm,
that affect the logistics and the sourcing community? Because we
mm,
talk about a shortage of vehicles. Um,
mm.
so what are you hearing from your guests and people that you talk to about that, and people's attitudes, and how that's going to change things in the next a year, 5 years?
Yeah. So, well, what's interesting is this is cool is that a guy that started a channel in auto logistics happens to know a little bit about OEMs and dealers and maybe even consumer car buying behavior. Now, that seems to be surprising because let's turn it, when I hear folks that talk dealership day and night, when I hear them talk about logistics, they fail.
Hmm.
People that don't work in logistics don't really understand. I don't know why. I guess it takes a lot of education to learn about logistics, which is great for my channel. But meaning all the things involved, why it's so darn difficult. And I tell you, on a show last night, a guy was talking about how Amazon continues to blow people's minds with how easy they make logistics seem.
It's
My
true.
gosh.
Absolutely true.
Just like how Tesla blows OEM's minds on how does he continue to do this
Hmm.
and design rockets and flamethrowers. Um, Elon Musk really is the new Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs he's now like a god,
Hmm.
right? We quote him. Anywhere you go, people will quote Steve Jobs or talk about Steve Jobs. Elon Musk is on his way to that level of status. But I didn't answer your question. So, consumer car buying behavior, luckily, well, or unluckily, for dealers, whether physical dealers or online dealers, everything's gotten so expensive. And so you don't need as much inventory as you needed before. But that also means your margins are thinner, your turnover of inventory is lower, and those are both bad things. As a dealer, you do not want slimmer profit margins and you do not want slower turnover. Those are problems, but those are real problems. Affordability of cars has become more of a problem, which is more how it used to be, but it's a problem. Used cars are getting older because people are willing to settle for less right now because they have to, because of interest rates on new car loans, etc. Also, yes, the social changes with next generation car buying
Mm-hmm.
behavior has changed, obviously. Uh, the biggest thing that's happened, I think, in car buying is that car buyers now know more than ever before, and they demand more than ever before, which is why you can't trick a consumer into just getting the car you want them to get. That wasn't a nice thing to say either, but a trick, right? Dealers don't
Yeah,
do that.
but like
Yeah, it
it's
was in the past,
yeah.
which is where auto transport still is. Auto logistics is extremely messy, and there's a lot of BS that happens behind the scenes.
Hmm.
And people, I'm not sure what will change that. It's not the content of the show, Jay. It wasn't very nice to say. But E the what's nice to see is a lot of dealers thought stop cramming EVs down our throats, and they were right. In some ways, EVs aren't for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
This should be a fortune cookie, but they are happening. You ask, will we be all electric one day? Yeah, but I think because of legislation. When gas is illegal, we will be all electric.
Oh man, you're getting into some futuristic
I told you I don't have a lot of boundaries
hypotheses
on
here.
content.
Oh my
I
God.
don't. I say things that I think that it's true. Legislation is what governs our behavior.
I mean,
Not a nice thing to say,
it
but it's true.
certainly has a major influence,
And
but that's a whole
we
yeah.
see crazy laws getting uh put on the books.
Mm-hmm.
Gas will be illegal one day. If you have a gasser, you won't be able to drive that thing on the road one day. That is going to happen. That sucks.
That sounds
It's
like the
going to happen.
premise for a movie,
Yeah.
Jay.
All right, let's shoot
Oh,
it.
your next project.
Yeah. No, that'd be a weird movie, actually. Yeah. That actually might be a commercial first, but I think that's, you know, hybrids are pretty cool though. And I just read a story that there is a hybrid technology, a new hybrid technology that allows your hybrid to get over 1,000 miles on one tank of gas, and you charge correctly. Like that's what we're talking about. That's where we need to be. Like people
That would
still
be
talk about range anxiety. It won't be a thing in the future, but it still is a thing now.
yeah. As a EV driver myself, and I've rented a hybrid, and I have to say I would just prefer to stick with the EV, all EV.
Is that
However,
right?
this only because the range you could get on the EV on the hybrid on the EV part was so limited that you went over
You
to
go.
gas right away. And it's
Right.
like what's the point, right?
Exactly.
So, but if this new vehicle you're describing where you can get over 1,000 miles because you're I don't know maybe your recharging is it flips over to the
Right.
gas. I don't know how that works, but
I don't either.
that's something to consider.
Right.
Seriously, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Um,
crazy. Actually, I think it's a Chinese. This is another thing. This is going to be something, the political aspect it never fully goes away.
mhm.
It's a Chinese EV called BYD. Is that going to be a problem for American buyers? Some. Well, what if it wasn't Chinese? What if it was Scottish?
Mm.
What if we had a Scottish EV that would go 2,000 miles? Any problem? I love it. It's Chinese. Oh, no, can't do that. Really? Because of where it's from? Okay.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know.
I guess if you have the you're lucky enough to have the ability to choose kind of where you spend your dollars based on that versus I have to get what's affordable. I don't care where it's from,
Well, and that's where we are right now.
yeah,
Affordability is more important than brand.
brand, yeah.
Yes, and in fact, that's hurt OEM loyalty, which again, anytime you can take some power away from an OEM, you see more of a consumer-based decision. Definitely
Yeah.
don't tell Ford I said
Well, I can't guarantee you that no one from Ford listens to this
that.
podcast, so we'll see.
Well,
Um,
then we'll just talk about the UAW and it'll clear things up.
right.
Right.
Well, this has been quite an entertaining conversation, and I feel like we could probably go another couple of hours and
Yeah.
make many episodes, but
Yeah.
we've come up on our time, but we are going to end it with a lightning round, if you're good
Okay.
for that.
Oh
All right.
yeah. Yeah, right.
All right. First, what was your dream car as a kid?
I see I'm more of I'm a media guy, but I thought about this. I think it was probably like a Mustang,
Yeah,
like a muscle car. Yeah, sure.
sure. Do you have a dream car now?
Well, it'd be more of like I'm thinking like a sporty two-door BMW or Mercedes or
Mhm.
something like that.
Yeah,
See, times change,
I've always been partial to Maseratis myself, but
Yeah, yeah, sure. I'll take a Countach. That'd be fine. Throw it in. Yeah.
Lotus, their EV was quite beautiful. So
Really?
yeah,
Yeah.
check it
Well,
out.
I will say this. That's the thing. Some of the new EV models, they're pretty sweet. And what they're
Hmm.
doing with the dashboards and everything is sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, they certainly don't look like the weird spaceship vehicles of the past when people thought that to make an EV meant you had to make it look futuristic, you know?
All right, then
I
lightning
think
round. What do you think of the Cybertruck?
I hate it.
Ah, I knew it. That's so
I hate it.
awesome. So I'll say
Uh,
this. I think he's right. Once again, Elon, he's right. There's something he's right about.
well, it's novelty. It's a novel item
Well,
for
but I think
sure.
we're going to continue to see this kind of body shape. It's not a real truck. You can't load it with
No, it looks
lumber.
like a to-go box on wheels. I mean, it's just not.
Awesome, man. I love it.
Yeah. All
Yes.
right.
This
We
is what
digress.
ATI is all about.
Yeah,
Okay.
we digress.
All
Okay.
right.
Would you own an autonomous vehicle?
Well, I think it's a really weird question because if I own it, do people will I guess people will own autonomous vehicles? Because right now, can you own it?
No, there's no fully autonomous vehicle on the
Right.
market.
But
But you
but
know,
even if you could own it, I guess that's the thing. I'm 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 mixing apples and oranges.
you're
Yes, I
mixing
would.
like autonomous
I'm
robo-taxis
not
with.
afraid of autonomous vehicles,
Okay.
which I mean, because I don't have to be driving. I mean, yeah, see, I could be operating cameras and editing equipment. Yeah, I'll take an
Hmm.
autonomous vehicle.
Yeah.
Think of the time I'll save. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen. Autonomous vehicles are happening. We
Yeah.
already have different levels of autonomy. When you
It
learn
might be
about
50
the
years in the
five stages
future.
of autonomy,
Yeah. Yeah.
we're on like step 3 already. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna
And it
happen.
might be 50 years in the future before it's dialed in,
Okay.
99.9%
So
of
what
the
year
time.
are we full? What year do we have fully autonomous actual?
Um,
I've got a year because I've tried to figure this out. I've got a year in mind.
I'm gonna say 2075.
Okay, I'm gonna say
When like
20.
everything, like I'm talking dialed, everything is autonomous.
Dialed
The
in autonomous vehicles that you can
safety there.
own and it drives itself.
Yeah.
I've got a shocking 2040.
Mm,
I
I
know.
don't know about that. Maybe some
I know.
cities,
This
maybe some places.
acceleration curve, man,
Could
is
be,
nuts.
could
We'll
be.
see. I know it's
I don't
weird.
know.
Yeah.
All right, you kind of already answered this one. You preempted my lightning round.
I know. Fully
Will
electric society.
yeah, will we ever be
Okay.
fully electric?
Okay, so let's put a year on this because when I go into concepts, then I like to put a year on it, see if like
Hmm.
to really dive in, like where can we get to? All right, fully electric society. What does that mean? Define what that means.
So, all cars are electric.
Okay.
Public transportation is electric. You know, so everything is we're robotax, like everything is you either have to charge or you're charging as you're driving or you're, you know, something like that.
Wow. Okay, that is harder. Um,
I mean, that's major infrastructure.
well, we will be. I mean, I don't know, 2080, but I don't think it'll take that long. We're on this nutty acceleration right now that we can't even what we're talking about right now and the things around us by 2040 will look I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to get
In fact, the
crazy.
infrastructure has to catch up to what
That's
we want to do, right?
and you know what that I think that's the hardest part because you don't have to drive very far before you can find like ancient infrastructure,
Right. Oh, yeah.
rusty
Right.
girders and
Right. Right.
so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's
So
interesting. Yeah.
yes, but it's going to be far in the future.
I'll say 2080.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Last one. Since you're a media guy, what's your favorite ad campaign of all time?
Right. Okay. Um, I'm so glad. I will tell you that I'm the kind of guy that needed to know these lightning questions before. So thank you for giving them to me because I would have just sat
Welcome.
here like blubbering.
Giving
Okay.
away my secrets there,
Because
Jay.
I know, but well, that's okay. This is ATI. Okay. So you know what I picked? Because I don't know how to pick. And it isn't Clydesdales. I think that's kind of dumb. Which again, I just lost half of the audience, right? I love Clydesdales.
That's your heart.
You know what? That's fine.
I like
Love
them.
Clydesdales. You know what I think is pretty awesome is that Burger King campaign going on. BK,
Oh God, please
have
don't
it.
sing
Okay, but okay, do you see what just happened? You know the ad. And by the way, who even eats at Burger King?
somebody.
This ad is so good that you think people eat there.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. I
I
mean,
mean,
it's
Burger,
catchy.
don't
It's one
tell
of those
Burger
that
King
sticks in your. It's well, I guess if
that
it sticks in your brain, then it's successful, right?
it is amazing. And I started
Right.
thinking, well, what other, okay, so I actually, but up, 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 I don't think that's great. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
great what they've done with it. Now
Right.
it's this guy going, but up, up, up.
Yeah.
Like you know what? We found out it wasn't cool. We're
Mm-hmm.
with you.
Right. It's
And
good.
then
It's
I
good.
thought Wendy's, where's the beef?
Oh,
That
the old
sums
lady. Oh, love
that
it.
sums up the way I think.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the
The
beef?
beef.
ATI Auto Business, where's the
There's
beef?
the beef. Love it. Well, I can't think of a better note than to wrap up on that. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Jay. This has been
Thanks very
awesome.
much. This was fun. Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Thanks for listening to the Mile Marker Podcast. If you liked what you heard today, give us a like, share this episode on social media, and even take a minute to give us a review on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Be sure to subscribe to our channel so you can join us for future episodes full of insights and ideas to keep the mobility industry moving forward.